Welcome to the ESXperience Webinar, See the Opportunity, Best Practices with Video Verified Alarms. Today's webinar is sponsored by VideoFide.
Our learning objectives today. We are going to cover some very straightforward issues that should be of value to alarm companies, things you would need to know if you are assessing this technology. First of all, what is video verification? And sort of what it isn't. It's very similar to other applications for video and other uses for this same technology platform. What are the advantages? This has mostly to do with the markets and how you'll be able to sell this type of product. We also looked at professional monitoring in particular because this is a key aspect of using video to verify alarms. We looked at the business aspects for you a little bit as well. When you look at a new technology and adding this sort of service, the kinds of issues you would need to address, such as cost to create, the expected yield, what this does to your profit and loss, the expected return on the investment, how long it would take you to recoup your investments. And then finally, we look at how you would go about selling this, and not just selling it, but marketing it, installing it, and servicing it as well. We have several fine speakers lined up today. The format of this webinar will be have several presentations in a row, followed by Q&A, and then after the Q&A period, we'll have some additional information that we think is helpful for you as well, so stick around for that. We have several panelists from industry. I will actually start by introducing the speakers to you in just a moment individually. And also, we have a representative from our sponsor, VideoFide, which makes products in this area. My name is Virginia Williams. I'm the Director of Program Development for AE Ventures. We manage the ESX show. I'd like to first start by introducing our panelists from industry. We have Chief Dye from the Grand Prairie, Texas Police Department. Chief Dye has also been chief at Colleyville, Texas, and also assistant chief at the Garland, Texas PD. Chief Dye is very active in liaison with security industry and user groups. We'd like to make note that he's the chair of the alarm committee for the Texas Police Chiefs Association. Our next speaker, from the installer perspective, integrator perspective, is Ryan Smith, owner and operator of Titan Protection and Consulting in Overland Park, Kansas. And in addition to managing his alarm business, he's an active police officer and has been so for about 15 years now. Followed by Ryan, we will have Larry Folsom, also for an industry perspective. He's president of American Video and Security Limited in Las Vegas, Nevada. Larry's also a featured speaker in the ESX conference this June. He's had 14 years in the industry, and in addition to being president of AVS, he's also currently president of iView Now, a maker of Central Station Video Interface. He's active in the association world, both in the security side and in public safety liaisons. Our sponsor for VideoFide will be represented by Keith Dentoff, president of VideoFide, and RSI Video Technologies, the maker of the VideoFide product line. VideoFide is one of the early adopters of this platform and this technology type, so we are fortunate to have someone with so much field data that we can draw on. Keith has 20 years in the industry and has been very active in public safety liaison and introduction of this kind of technology, coordination with the public safety sector. Keith, you want to take it over?
What I'm really going to talk about from my perspective is that the model for video verification has changed, and with VideoFide, it's the same cost and more revenue. So we could take a look, what is VideoFide? And you're going to see that really we're an intrusion alarm. We're a monitored intrusion alarm. It's all wireless. The motion viewer that you see there has a PIR, it has illuminators, and has a camera. And when it's armed and there's an intrusion, It actually takes a 10-second video clip of what caused the alarm that should be playing there. It's color, VGA, and we're going to be sending that video clip directly to the central station. So really the concept here is for the same price, which is better, blind or video? When we talk about the same price, it's hardware, installation, and monitoring. And we don't think it's complicated. I think video is better. More than that, when you're talking about a monitored system, the monitoring costs are very crucial. And these are some of our VideoFide monitoring partners. Any one of these will monitor a VideoFide at the same price as a non-video alarm. So monitoring for VideoFide is not more expensive. From the monitoring, we go into the business model of the hardware. These are some wireless, typical wireless PIRs on a one-off basis. And you're going to see that 3 of those wireless PIRs are around $70. Only one of those up there has a camera, which is the VideoFide one. You're going to pay almost the same price for the actual PIR as you do for a PIR camera. So while monitoring is the same price, the hardware is the same price, and it installs like a PIR, so the installation is the same price. So the business model, same costs or more revenue. Hardware, installation, monitoring, but people actually pay more for video verification. They're willing to pay more for priority police response. And we're giving you interactivity with smartphone look-in, smartphone arm, and disarm.
Thank you, Keith. Now I'd like to kind of take a step back and maybe take a 1,000-foot view, as they say. One thing we can say about this technology is that it is definitely a high-growth area. If any of you have looked at the ESA 2013 Megatrends survey, one of the things that jumped out at me is about the adoption curve of this kind of technology. About 1/3 of the integrator survey said that they intend to adopt or include these new advanced services in their offerings this year, and about 2/3 said that they will within the next 2 years. So I think we are really at the beginning of a good curve there. This technology in particular is benefiting from a wave of advancements both in cellular communications and in internet access. As Keith mentioned earlier, these interactive services are provided through an app, which is basically a portal that, like a look-in, that lets the user be able to access their system, even control it in some cases, from a distance. And all of this because of the popularity of smartphones, and there's an app for everything. This technology, the smartphone look-in type stuff, has really only been around for maybe 2 to 5 years. Smartphones have really only been around that long, so we really are in the beginning of something here. And the appeal to the user is one of the front-end benefits that is particularly important to the alarm company. The appeal of convenience, of being able to access your system, is incredibly powerful. It makes very sticky customers. Alarm dealers are reporting that their attrition rate is going down. And on the back end, after once the user has gotten sort of this front-end hook where they really like using their system now, on the back end, you still have all the advantages of using video for alarm verification. So if they have a proper alarm system with professional monitoring, they get benefits on both ends. One of the differentiators is whether or not these people will, whether they're commercial or just regular consumers, residential, whether or not they will go to some of the big, more well-known names, or whether they'll try to do it themselves. The competition may look a little daunting in some cases, but some things I would encourage you all to keep in mind. The national companies and the introduction now of telecoms, and you've probably even heard about Google has bought Nest. What these types of offerings tend to do is push prices up. So you may get the benefit of that. Even if these companies are able to subsidize and you're not, they are still pushing the consumer awareness for you, and they're still driving costs down. So you get the benefits of all these things while you can focus on your differentiators from your competition. One note on DIY, there are some new offerings now I mentioned Google, others that you can buy at Home Depot. And with the popularity of this, it can also be intimidating for an alarm company, especially when a consumer doesn't realize that they're not getting monitoring with this. What they're paying for is simply video transport, but none of the safety net that goes with professional monitoring, and none of the benefits of priority response that go with having a professional call at the PSAP center. So the differentiator there truly is in your sales pitch that you get priority response. The next couple of slides I think we'll go through very quickly. I'll assume that we have a savvy audience and I can make up some time here. This is the normal flow for an alarm signal. And this kind of graphic, from what I hear from industry, tends to be very compelling when you're working with a customer and trying to explain the system. Basically, without the alarm integrator, if they try to do it themselves, they just get 1 and 2 as far as the transmission, and then they're on their own. They can't easily forward that to the police, the responders, first responders, and they don't get the same treatment necessarily, and they don't know how to handle the on-site situations. If we look to the next slide, we can see how compelling it can be to actually demonstrate to your customer what video looks like and how easy it is to transmit this stuff. Basically, 3G capabilities in cellular are pervasive. In fact, we're hearing about 2G being phased out now. So this capability is very easy to be able to sell to the customer. Chances are they have everything they need except you. And one thing I won't move on without really highlighting is the arrest. When you get priority response, this is another one of the benefits. Less property loss, reduction in crime, better retrieval. Customers all love that stuff. So for a little more close-up on that, I would like to now turn this over to our guest from Public Safety and hear his perspective. Chief Dye, Chief?
Thanks, Virginia. I appreciate it. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to speak to everyone today because when traditional alarms came into the market quite a number of years ago, law enforcement really did not have the opportunity to collaborate. And with video alarms, law enforcement has been asked to the table to help develop best practices, which I think is going to be extremely important as we work together. You see, law enforcement costs have risen so much over the years that we can just no longer afford to put a police officer on every corner. And one of the ways that we're maximizing our resources is by working with the alarm industry with video alarms. It's truly, in my opinion, going to be a force multiplier. In May, I will have 30 years in law enforcement, and I think this is probably the single most beneficial development of technology that I've seen. I think it's important that as we move forward, both the alarm industry and law enforcement, that we continue to help educate our business owners and our residents on the difference between surveillance and video alarms. Surveillance has a very useful place. Video alarms, I believe, have an even more useful place from our perspective, and I'll give you an example in a moment. But we really need to educate our consumers because I'm still finding that many of our potential customers do not know the difference. So my department, like many others, is really focused on community policing. We want to partner with our citizens and business owners and school districts and every partner that we can identify to work with because everyone is concerned about public safety. So the video alarms is an excellent way to highlight that community policing. We're working with our citizens, our business owners, our security providers, and our insurance companies, and we're really working towards fewer false alarms, more arrest, and the reduction of property loss and crime and the deterrence of crime. And I want to talk a minute about the ultimate deterrent being arrests. We know that alarms have a useful purpose already, the traditional alarms, because if someone's home has an alarm installed, mine included, I know that that's going to minimize property loss. It may deter a break-in, but I certainly know it's going to minimize property loss. As video alarms become more and more prevalent, we're going to find that the criminal element is going to start educating themselves as to what is a video alarm. For example, we had a a cell tower the other day where the bad guy walked up to the camera, casually just turned it downward, and they went about stealing copper, him and the other suspect. He thought that was just a surveillance video. Because it was a video alarm, and because my department in Grand Prairie, Texas, offers a higher priority and a quicker response to video alarms, my officers were there within 2 minutes, caught them both inside, and arrested both of them. That's a perfect example, whereas that was surveillance or even a traditional alarm, the response would have been longer, and they may very well have fled prior to our arrival. So what's going to happen is not only do we make 2 arrests there, but those bad guys are going to figure out that that was a video alarm, and that's how they got caught, and they're going to start talking to their friends because they communicate in the criminal element just like we do in our professions, in our lives. So that really is, at the end of the day, if we have fewer false alarms and we have a higher number of apprehensions, that's going to serve as a exponentially much higher deterrent. From a public safety perspective, I always advocate that anybody equips their home or business with any type of security they can afford. I will never criticize or tell someone not to spend time and money on security as best they can, but the reality is, from a law enforcement perspective, we prefer the professional monitoring at central stations to the video alarms. The do-it-yourself systems, where the homeowner, for example, is notified by an app that his camera has been activated, he's going to have to still call us. We're going to go through the process. We're not going to be able, because of the volume, to put those do-it-yourself systems into a higher priority. That's going to come in and be handled like any other 911 call because we just don't have the capacity to handle all of the do-it-yourself systems as a best practice video alarm. That's another reason we're working with the alarm company. We want to set standards and best practices and work through professional central stations to make sure that everybody is sending us the proper video in the proper portal, in the proper format, so that way when I'm dispatching my officers at a higher level, I have the assurance to know that that's valid information that I'm receiving through professionals. Now, not every city offers a higher response to video alarms, but my belief is as the technology grows, that is a local issue, but I believe as the technology grows, I think more and more cities may be offering that level of service. And I applaud the alarm industry for inviting us to the table. We're going to continue to work with all of the alarm industry to try to make sure that we jointly agree upon these best practices and protocols. You all as alarm companies and installers are a very important piece of this, both in your education to our public, and one of the things that we really suggest is when you install or sell a video alarm, it's very important that that homeowner or business contacts their local police department and advises them that they have a video alarm. That will help them ascertain, number one, if they have a higher response level, but also to make sure that the central station for that alarm also contacts the police department. For example, if you're a central station that covers my city, you have a proper and formalized protocol to send that video to us in our PSAP through a dedicated avenue, so we're getting real-time information. As my officers are en route to that video alarm call, they can already be advised as to what the suspects or the potential suspects look like, maybe even a vehicle, and that's a much higher level of officer safety than we currently have with traditional alarms. So we do not plan to change our response to traditional alarms at all. We plan to continue to respond to them as we always have. We're excited about this higher level of response for video alarms. Again, in Grand Prairie, it's already led to several apprehensions for our city. So me and other police professionals throughout the country will continue to work toward that goal at the end of the day of minimizing property loss, better protecting our citizens and business owners. And again, I'll just end with my sincere appreciation to each of you all for being advocates for law enforcement and helping us work together towards enhanced public safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. An excellent overview, and I assure you the industry appreciates your efforts as well. Next, we'd like to go to Ryan. to get some insight from his personal experience, some peer experience for you, both on the marketing and sales and selecting a central station. Ryan?
Thanks, Virginia. Can you hear me okay, Virginia?
Yeah, pretty good. Speak
okay,
up
great,
a little.
thanks.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I am Ryan Smith with Titan Protection. We are a security company based in the Kansas City area, and we focus primarily on commercial customers here in the Midwest. We got into video verification around 3 years ago as we kind of started to see that trend develop within the industry. Most of the markets we serve or customers are in the commercial market. We started doing mostly outdoor applications, scrap yards, heavy equipment dealers, things like that. Within the past year, we have seen a dramatic increase in indoor applications, and we believe this is directly related to the technology lowering in cost and just becoming more affordable. Because video verification is now cost comparable to traditional alarm systems, we have completely transitioned away from offering traditional alarm systems, and we only sell video verification. Something that we see that sets us apart from our competition, and also we feel it's just a better way to protect our clients' property. We've seen, specifically in our area, we've seen a lot of dealers that have attempted to do video verification, maybe one application here, one there. Maybe they're focusing, or maybe they use it when they have a customer with specific pain points, frequent false alarms or frequent criminal activity. And I just think it's important to kind of commit to this as an offering, just so you properly understand how to install, sell it, interact with it. I've just seen a lot of folks not successful just doing the one system here, one system there. So definitely recommend getting ahead of the curve and learning about it and taking a hard look to see if it's something that fits into your business. As far as professional monitoring service goes, this is something I think is a pretty important piece of the puzzle. It's important to work with a central station that obviously offers video monitoring as a service, but more importantly specializes in it. Early on, we used a central station that didn't really understand what they were doing, and we had poor results, which translated into upset customers and customers that would just lose faith in the application or video verification as a solution. So definitely an important piece of the puzzle. I'd lean on your vendors. You know, ask them who they recommend, who they know that handles video well. And when you're having those conversations with the central stations, certainly ask them, you know, how many operators do they have dedicated to video at one time, what kind of training those operators receive. And it's also important, too, to find out, are they handling video and Berg and fire signals all at the same time, or do they have operators just dedicated to video? Video monitoring is much different. You've got, you know, information coming in. You've got to evaluate it, make a decision, and you know, I believe it takes specialized training. And so just I would, if it's something that you're going to get into, I'd look at partnering with a central station that knows what they're doing. We've since transitioned into our own central station, do the monitoring in-house, but would definitely recommend a partnership with somebody that knows what they're doing. As far as self-monitoring goes, we don't run into that often. We have had customers that bring that up in a sales environment. But usually that's a pretty quick conversation. They understand the benefits of having somebody that's professionally trained handle those alerts. They also don't want to worry about getting alerts in the middle of the night or missing something while they're sleeping. So it's usually a pretty quick conversation that we run into. As far as sales techniques go, we found live product demonstrations work very well. We'll take a system into a customer's business or environment and set up a camera and arm it and let them play with it and interact with it. We also use example videos and arrest videos from actual clients that we have, and customers tend to gravitate towards or understand it better when they're interacting with it and seeing those videos and seeing how it works, as opposed to just getting some literature on it, which we do as well. And you can quickly see when you're in front of a customer and explaining the benefits of video verification, the faster police response and the fewer false alarms, you can see they understand it pretty quickly. So when you're preparing a bid for video verification and it's comparable in cost to a competitor's bid that might put a traditional alarm system in front of them, it's a pretty easy decision for the customer. They understand the benefits, and when you take cost out of the equation, it's a pretty simple
pretty simple sell. So it's been something that we've certainly seen success with and believe in, and hopefully others do too.
Thank you, Ryan. Very helpful. And now we'll move right into Larry's section. He's going to address some of the other issues to consider in the business model and the cost to create, both new and retrofit. Larry?
Sure. So our alarm company's in Las Vegas. We like to describe it as sort of the Bud Light of our country. I've got 2 million folks here. We're a primary market. We compete with the biggest companies and the small companies that come and go in a town of our size. And so for 4 years now, we've been offering verification. I actually ended up with iView now as a software company as a result of I couldn't find a solution that worked. So we came by verification. We're in a non-response town. So it's Babylon, and the police don't want to come to your alarm. So verification for us came out of just the necessity to get better response for our customers. So we do include a verification product in every single proposal we do. It is a differentiator for us as we compete with others. We're one of the few companies even to this moment that's actually doing that. So everything new, we include verification. But the other thing that we did was we focused on our existing customers. I've acquired 4 alarm companies here in this market. And every 6 months or so, we call those clients and let them know that we're offering this service. We've had great response to it. So I wanted to just touch on a couple things that we've experienced in marketing to our own clients. Right. So I've covered this part, which is I think as we looked in this market, we're in a non-response town. I'm going to address that, but also sort of the commoditization. We've got summer programs that blow in and out of here, and what we found was differentiating with verification is just it's defined us as a culture and in our market. So talking about marketing to your existing account base, I would suggest to you that you get focused. That's kind of my motto with anything I do. But the idea here is put together a package, a brochure, work out those creation costs before you go to market, and then train your technicians on the actual assembly. Talking about the sort of pricing brochure piece, we put this package together. I'm going to show you on the next slide. We'll hold on this slide right now. But and then we needed to understand what the salesperson was going to do when they got there. So let's be clear. I'm in a non-response town, and we're calling our existing commercial customers and offering verification. To be perfectly clear, we've not had anyone cancel on us. We've not had anyone ask for it for free because we're in a non-response town. We've seen people embrace this as an enhancement, right, as an add-on to their existing service. So we've advanced ahead of me, but that's okay. So this is the package. We put together a little three motion viewer package. We'll talk about the creation cost of it, the assembly that it takes for this example. Right. So the equipment here, this 3 motion viewer IP panel example, about $384 in cost. My effective labor rate's about $48. That's what it costs me to have a guy in uniform standing there. 1.5 hours, so that's $72. We figure 15 minutes per motion viewer, and then the balance of time is to piggyback that panel onto the existing panel. We've gone to market here with this at $299, and we're adding $30 a month. It's about a 9 creation cost, and we've had a really great reception. The important thing that was on a previous slide that I had here was that you've got to train your salespeople on the package, on how to present it. I completely agree with Ryan. You got to show the client they get it. They've all had false alarms. Some of them have had actuals. And by being able to put video in their hands and show it to them, they thirst to know what's going on during an alarm event at their facility. So I think a key element is to ensure that your salesperson is trained on the package, whatever it is, trained on that presentation, whatever it is, because if not, what we found was, again, we've been doing this every 6 months for a few years now, the salesperson sort of goes out and just tries to sell anything, right, to make their number. So make sure that the call you make is a very simple one. What we've chosen to do is we call our clients, let them know, remind them, hopefully, but let them know that we're offering this service whereby when the alarm goes off, the operator gets video and they can get video. And they either got an interest or they don't. Send a trained salesperson out with this type of package to go out and then offer it as an add-on. Make sure the salesperson is trained. Otherwise, literally, you get the salesperson shows up and then offers whatever they think they're going to be able to sell to make their number for that month. But we've had really good experience with this. I do believe for the average alarm company, this is a way to differentiate. It's clearly a way to add recurring revenue. To the Chief's point, I think it's a great way to make people safer. We really we view this as an enhancement, not a replacement. So, thank you.
Thank you, Larry. And now we have time for some questions.
Alrighty, the first question we have here from the audience, and this one's for Larry and or Ryan. What is the cost to service the equipment after the installation, and is there RMR in that?
So Larry or Ryan, would you like to take that?
I'll go, sure. So we view this as, we combine this add-on onto an existing agreement. And our traditional, American Video and Security's traditional view of service is 1-year warranty, parts, and labor. So after that first year, if there's a service call, we charge for service. That's our culture. And I'll touch on one piece too. So it's going on a standard monitoring agreement. We had our agreements a long time ago, made sure that they're congruent with our insurance. Every dealer that does verification needs to do that. And what we do is we pay the salesperson for 1 time to bring the old RMR onto the new paper and 3 times for the new RMR that they're adding on. So service for us, 1-year warranty, parts, and labor, and then we charge for service thereafter.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
Okay, our next question is for Ryan specifically. Can we get some further information on what you use for your video verification training, whether that be for salespeople and technicians as well?
Well, we have those are pretty separate. Obviously, the sales side of it, we focus a lot, and we work pretty closely with the vendors and incorporate their sales reps into that to help along. But beyond sales goals and quarterly training, we have some some structured training that we put them through. And the central station side of it is the same as well. I mean, we have our operators are required a minimum amount of training before they work on their own. We have an escalation process in our central station where we have operators going through alerts. If they see a person or they need something that needs more activity or decision making, it's escalated up to a supervisor who makes that decision. So all of that is part of the training that we put in, but we require them upfront training and then quarterly training beyond that on different ways of different technologies and different ways to handle alerts.
Very good. Thank you, Ryan. And thank you, Larry, for that first answer. Apologize for calling you Ryan. Okay.
Our next question is for Keith, probably would be the best person. What brand alarm panels can VideoFi be connected to?
We can be connected to all of them major brands: Honeywell, DSC, 2GIG, Interlogix, GE. We're agnostic on the panel side. We do a good job connecting to pretty much what's out there.
And also, do you use live monitoring or video monitoring software to perform the video verification?
VideoFi doesn't do any monitoring. We're a hardware company, so you probably want, but we're monitored by a professional central station that's using their automation packages and how they typically do alarms.
Could one of the integrators answer that?
We use it. Yeah, we use a central station platform for video only that receives all of these different signals and then also assists the operator and walks them through how to handle an alert. But yeah, we use a specific automation package that helps handle those.
And I believe Larry said he ended up making his own.
Right. So that iView now was designed as a cloud-based product that catches video from disparate products, including VideoFi, and marries them with central station software in the central station.
Very good.
Chief Dye, how much faster is response time if alarm is tied to it, or if the alarm has a video verification tied to it?
Okay, great question. And this will vary depending on your municipality or law enforcement agency. Right now in Grand Prairie, and this is fairly typical, a traditional alarm response is a priority 3. So by the time it goes to the central station, gets back to us, we get it through dispatch, we're usually going to be there, within 5 to 6 minutes, but it's probably going to be, 10 to 15 minutes after the alarm activation, and that's a pretty standard number. Video alarms in my city get a priority 1 response, which means once we receive the alarm and dispatch, we're usually on scene in around 2 minutes, sometimes quicker, but probably an average of about 2 minutes or less. So you can see from a priority 1, to a priority 3, there's quite a bit of time savings. And the way that works internally is a priority 3 call, a traditional alarm, may have to hold for other higher response calls, whereas a priority 1 is dispatched immediately, and if no officers are in service, 1 is cleared to take the call. I treat my video alarm responses just like I would a burglary in progress. If you call me and tell me, hey, I see somebody breaking into my neighbor's home, I'm going to send those officers as a priority 1 burglary in progress response. If I get a video alarm, to me that's actually better information than a person calling, because I've got actual video verification that there is someone inside that home or business, and it certainly may not be an employee. That's another reason for best practices and standards, because sometimes we'll get these through a central station during business hours, and they're able to quickly determine that it's an employee. Whereas after hours, or where there's like a cell tower where there are not employees on site, we know that the chances of that being a criminal suspect are much higher. So I know that was a little bit of a long answer, but I hope it better explains you know, the response to the question to everyone.
Very good. Thank you, Chief. I'm sorry to say that we are sort of out of time for questions. I'm going to have to refer you to the ESX conference if you want more information on this. And certainly we encourage you to attend the conference. I'd also like to call attention to the video sessions that are going to be offered this year in our seminars on site. 2 of them in particular, SS1, the commercial market super session, and S19, the perfect host. Larry Folsom will be in both of those panels, so if you want to hear more from him, those are the 2 that you want to check out. As I said, these other sessions deal with other applications similar to this, and more information on a number of the topics that we talked about today. I'd also like to thank all the speakers today and our sponsor. Excellent presentations, and these are links where you can get in touch with them. I encourage you to follow up with the speakers. One-on-one advice is always very, very useful. And then finally, I would like to thank all of you for attending this webinar and encourage you to register. If you haven't registered for ESX yet, do it now. This is a deep link. You can type this in, again, the #register at the end. You can navigate to the registration page from a number of places on the website, but this will get you there straight away. This year we are encouraging teams. I want to emphasize that as well. We have discounts for companies that bring multiple members of a team, and we have discounts up until March 31st, so please take advantage of your early bird discounts. One final note is our next webinar is going to be on February 13th at the same time. It is on a new program that we have for attendees called Making It Count, a customer care initiative that we have this year to help you get the most out of your ESS experience. Thank you all. See ya.
Thanks again, everyone. This recording will be available at www.esxweb.com in the next couple days. Thanks so much.